In this video, we're going to talk about why chiropractors have lost their way, but there's a silver lining. I'm Dr. Dan, I'm the chiropractic advocate. I get fired up about helping chiropractors take their rightful place in healthcare, ending their insurance dependency, and finally making the impact and the income they deserve. So let's jump in. This is a heavy hitter, and the reason why is because I believe chiropractors have lost their way, and I have good reason to back that up. So let me tell you the story. So I was speaking over at an event in Geneva, Switzerland. In fact, we were at the World Health Organization one day. There were many chiropractic leaders and a lot of chiropractic presidents attending this event. I was invited to come speak on the science of chiropractic and how to communicate it effectively in practice for both practitioners, but also for some of the professors and the presidents that were there. And I found myself sitting at a dinner table with multiple presidents of chiropractic colleges. And I heard the interaction going on between the different people who were there, and I was just fascinated by all of it and excited about all of it, trying to participate and listen and taking it in. And there was one point where I turned to a specific president of a chiropractic college, and I disagreed with him on one thing, and that was how and why I believe chiropractors have lost their way. His opinion was that our current generation of kids, these chiropractic students, what he referred to as kids, I do too these days. Maybe it's because I have my own children, but I do feel like these kids are so young. So he was referring to these kids, he says that generation is just different. They don't take pride in the things that we took pride in. They don't ask questions. They don't go deep in certain things. And I just don't feel like they respect or honor the intricacies of our philosophy, our science, our art, our history. And I said, hold on, I disagree. And I went on to describe something that I had been thinking about at the time, but it just hit me in the moment. I said, Doc, here's why I believe that we've lost our way. If you think about it, if you got into chiropractic in the early days, you typically got into chiropractic because you had somebody that you knew or yourself experienced a pretty profound result from chiropractic. You either had somebody get adjusted and they got rid of their breathing troubles, their asthmas, they overcame some sort of disease, they got off their diabetes medication, they reversed heart disease. You watched them heal from something that was so significant to you that you thought to yourself, I'm gonna go do that. There are many leaders in our profession that the reason why they got in, they talk about their story, is I had this experience and I got adjusted and all of these problems went away. They go into chiropractic college just needing to learn the trait, needing to learn the art, needing to learn a little bit about the science, but they didn't have to believe in the benefits. So think about that, because now let's fast forward to the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s. I've taught in a chiropractic college. I taught for a year and a half at Life University, which was known for its philosophical foundation. And we took a poll every single class at the beginning of how many students are there who have never been adjusted. Did you get into chiropractic before you were adjusted? Because I'm still fascinated to this day that some people got into chiropractic without ever having to get adjusted. Now, that's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is they found out that chiropractic is a good profession, so much so they're willing to spend their time, effort, and money to go be one. On the other end is they show up in a chiropractic college not having any belief or conviction or even understanding of what chiropractic can do. This presents a challenge because now it's up to the school to then create this convicted chiropractor and spit them out 3.5, 4 years later. And I looked at this big table of these leaders in chiropractic and presidents and administration in these colleges, and I saw some of their jaws just drop because they're like, actually, you make a good point. I said, I know I do. Now, add on top of that, where chiropractic colleges have to employ a certain amount of higher educated professors in order for them to meet the standards, in order to get the financial aid that the students are going to be able to get so that they could pay for the college to go to. You start to see how this whole thing works. The reason why I bring this up is because now you've got professors in there that are highly educated, but they have no understanding of chiropractic. And so now they're having a huge impact teaching biochemistry, teaching pathology, teaching these science classes to these chiropractic students, and they have no background in chiropractic. I'm not blaming the professor, I'm not blaming the schools, I'm saying it is what it is. Now a student comes to them and asks a professor, What do you think about a chiropractic adjustment? What do you think about this thing called subluxation? What do you think about the future of the profession? This is the chiropractor's dilemma. Or maybe I should say the chiropractic student's dilemma. That chiropractic student becomes a chiropractor. And you see why we maybe are confused as we graduate these chiropractic students and they don't know their difference between what they offer versus what a medical doctor offers. They don't know the difference between what a PT can offer, because a PT can manipulate the spine, and why would they come to me when they can do that too? You see, this confusion breeds a very confused human. I want to ask you, can you relate? Maybe you're sitting there and say, hey, that's me. Because I asked this professor or that professor, right? Even think about the chiropractors that work in a chiropractic college. I'll be the first to admit, I was in as a professor for a year and a half. I taught on Wednesday afternoons. I will say I was unique because I had opened and ran multiple successful chiropractic clinics. And I was in this interim where I was just traveling, so I had the time. But most chiropractors who teach in a chiropractic college, they didn't get into chiropractic because they wanted to be a professor. They're being a professor because practice didn't work out for them for whatever reason. But typically it's not because they were so passionate and so were successful in their practice, they want to come back and teach it. Few do, but very few. So you see this problem that perpetuates in the school, and this is why I believe that we have a dilemma. And the dilemma is a lack of confidence, a lack of conviction, and a lack of certainty. I pride myself on being the chiropractic advocate. I fight for a cause. My cause is that I believe chiropractors should take their rightful place in healthcare. That means that they should be successful in practice. In order to be successful in practice, you got to know what you have and the uniqueness of the offer you provide. And I could break it down to you with study after study after study. However, there is one study in 2014 that was done by a neurosurgeon. And he breaks down and he shows the stresses on the cervical spine with somebody looking at their phone. Somebody looking head down at their phone. The average head weighs 12 pounds. But when it's bent 15 degrees forward, it puts 27 extra pounds of stress on the spine, the discs, the ligaments, and the soft tissue. It goes even further. 30 degrees down produces 40 pounds of pressure and stress on the spine. 40 degrees of looking forward produces 49 pounds, and 60 degrees produces 60 pounds of extra stress. What does this mean? This means that the more people are looking down at their phones, the more stress and pressure are in their spine. Knowing the spine dictates and is intimately connected with the brain health, you start to see how needed a chiropractor is, because you deal with the spine, you deal with the nervous system, you deal with function. Not only that, this study in 2014 went on to show that those living today spends between 2 and 4 hours a day on their phone. The average person texting is between 30 and 45 degrees. That means that the average human is spending an extra 2 to 4 hours a day with 40 to 50 pounds of extra stress on their spine. Out on top of that, this research showed that not only does that break down the tissue, and they were seeing degeneration in kids younger than ever today because of the digital revolution, but also it went on to show that hormones of confidence, serotonin, testosterone, growth hormone, plummet when posture deviation increases. And cortisol, the stress hormone, increases as posture deviation increases. I can name 10 other studies that show the same thing, but here's what I'm gonna tell you. It's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. I look left, I look right. What do you see? I believe that it's never been a more important time. I believe that chiropractors are the future of healthcare, helping healthcare move forward in a very positive way, giving people solutions without the use of drugs or surgery. Come on, I wanna hear from you. What do you think? Put in the comments what you think. Do you think it's a great time to be a chiropractor, or do you think it's not? But I'll tell you this, there's nothing that is more important than a chiropractor owning their uniqueness, their difference. I don't know how to disrupt the entire school and curriculum and college issues that are there today, but I will continue to bang the drum to help chiropractors have conviction behind what they do. Know that their patients need them more than they need their patients, and then to have the communication in place that would allow them to build the practice of their dreams. And so listen, if you need help, if this is resonating with you, you want to have the evidence behind you, but you also want a mechanism in place where you don't have to be relying on insurance, and you can get people to say yes and pay you, and you feel great about it, and they happily pay you. I'm telling you, it's never been a better time. I have the evidence to support that, but I also am banging the drum over and over and over again that we got to get the schools on board, we got to get the presidents on board, and as we continue to do that, we show the problems so that we can bring solutions to it. Hey, agree with me or disagree with me, but spell my name right. Hit me up in the comments. hit the like button. Send this to somebody who you know is going to piss them off a little bit or maybe make their day. I'm Dr. Dan. I'm out.